Amida Butz, Amida Butz, Namanda Butz, Namanda, Namanda Butz, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Please join me in chanting Shishin Nai, followed by the reading of the three treasures. Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Now please join me in chanting Jusege. Jusege comes from the larger sutra of immeasurable life. In that sutra, the Bodhisattva Dharmakara, who becomes the Buddha Amida, declares to the Buddha Lokeshvara Raja their intentions to become Buddha. The three sacred vows refer to Dharmakara's pledge to 1. Establish the most incomparable vow in the world. 2. To become a great provider and save the poor and suffering. And 3. Attain Buddhahood and say and have the name heard throughout the 10 quarters of the universe. Jusege.
Daisen
도쇼템님 Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start the next portion of our service, which will be my Dharma message. Give me just a moment and I'll load my slideshow. Okay. So today for my Dharma message, I've been thinking a lot about some of the essentials of Buddhism, which is to say, like some of the assumptions about how the world works according to our teachings. I think it's really important for us to keep these things in mind because we don't live in a world that inherently sees reality through a Buddhistic lens. And so sometimes revisiting these very essential teachings can be very important and help us to guide us through our lives. And today I want to talk about karma. I think it's very often a misunderstood concept. It's talked about in popular culture in certain ways that are very problematic and non-Buddhistic. And so today I wanted to share a little bit about karma in Buddhism. So if you will please join me in Gassho, I'd like to share the words of the Tanisho. Good thoughts arise in us through the prompting of good karma from the past, and evil comes to be thought and performed through the working of evil karma. The late master Shinran said, "Know that every evil act done, even as slight as a particle on the tip of a strand of rabbit's fur or sheep's wool, has its cause in past karma." Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. This passage, as I said, comes from the Tanisho, which is a collection of writings taken down by Yu Yenbo, who is the disciple of our founder, Venerable Shinran. I've used this particular passage several times for my Dharma talks because it speaks directly to the importance of karma. The Buddhist perspective on karma is foundational to how we understand our lives and can help us to build a worldview that's rooted in the Buddha Dharma rather than other philosophies in the English-speaking world, much of which find their foundations in European and Christian thought. These words by Yu Yimbo and Master Shinran help me to understand the basic point of being Buddhist, and that is to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, to live my life as best I can in accord with the Buddha Dharma. Sometimes it's good for us to get back to the basics. And so, as I said, this is something I want to do today for our Dharma talk. The concept of karma comes very broadly from Indian philosophical and religious thought. This means that we can find notions of karma in various religious traditions that originated from the region we now call India. It's important to note that there are many such concepts in Buddhism that come from this religio-philosophical milieu, because we may speak of things like karma, transmigration, dharma, and others in specific ways that are Buddhistic, whereas Hindus, Jains, and other religions may use those terms in their own contexts. Since I'm a Jodo Shinshu priest, I'll be speaking about these concepts from a Buddhist perspective whenever I give a Dharma talk. But I want us to be aware that there are other ways of thinking about these terms and concepts in other traditions. Very simply, karma means action. Both the intentions behind and the results of those actions determine whether karma is positive, neutral, or negative. That's the very broad Mahayana Buddhist understanding of karma. In Tanisho 13, and in Venerable Shinran's own writings, however, he indicates that all our karma is negative because we have no way of doing the Buddhist practices necessary for us to work our way toward enlightenment on our own. Let me show you a diagram that I made for us visual learners that can help us understand the idea of karma. So in this image, there's a row of lotuses on the top, which I'm using to illustrate enlightenment, nirvana, birth in the Pure Land. All the green vectors or arrows represent positive karma. These are actions that lead us toward Buddhahood and awakening, usually forms of Buddhist practice. Some of those things generate a great deal of positive karma or merit and bring us to Buddhahood quickly. Some of them are more gradual and may be cultivated over many lifetimes. The red vectors represent negative karma, which are actions that either don't bring us closer to Buddhahood or they drive us further away from attaining that goal of awakening. Ultimately, Venerable Shinran states that all our karma is evil because we have no way of generating good karma on our own. This is because if we strive to do good, then our ego self is the motivating factor. We may think or say, look at me and how good I am. I'm closer to Buddhahood than the rest of you. And that's the idea that Master Shinran is pointing towards. He even calls all our good acts poisoned because they come from that self-centered view. In Tanisho 13, Venerable Shinran also indicates that labels of good and evil are arbitrary and based in human ego-centered thinking as well. Here and in Venerable Shinran's other works, he points out that people like merchants, leather workers, hunters, fishers, and other people in the lower classes of his day are all considered evil, and that aristocrats, monks, and royalty were so-called good. But he says that this is a foolish way of looking at the world because we're all unenlightened beings. It is thought and even justified in sutras that we are in this life right now, who we are, is determined by our past karma. Master Shinran isn't necessarily condemning that theory, but he's saying that those who cling to goodness are clinging to our egos, and that those so-called good people are eager to separate ourselves from those whom we think are evil. Very specifically, later on in the Tanisho 13, Venerable Shinran tells Yu Yembo, his disciple, to kill 1,000 people, and then he'll become enlightened. Yu Yembo, understandably, protests and says he's incapable of killing. Venerable Shinran astutely points out that due to Yu Yembo's karma, he's incapable of killing another person. That is the karma of a monk. Similarly, a warrior whose very livelihood it is to kill others may find it impossible not to kill other humans. That is the karma of the warrior. He also states that people who are poor or who work in particular industries considered to be evil because they must break the Buddhist precepts cannot perform the Buddhist austerities and practice those things that enable them to work towards enlightenment. Do those people not deserve the chance to attain Buddhahood as well? That's a question that Shinran asks. In this understanding, karma is much more than the actions we take. It's also the reality in which we live as individuals and in community. This is to say that our karma is our psychosocial reality. When we think about this for a while, we might wonder, if it's true that we're all just evil or simply stuck as unenlightened beings, and anytime we try to do good, it's rooted in our ego selves, then what's the point in trying to do anything? Can we really change? Those are tough questions that Master Shinran is leading us towards, and they're the ones he faced in his own lifetime. When we get into these existential questions and really think about our lives deeply, things can feel quite hopeless. But it's crucial that we take a step beyond that, a leap of faith, if you will. There are many people who listen to this teaching and come to a very nihilistic conclusion, where either we can't do anything about our problems and the problems of the world, or worse yet, that humans and society are incapable of change, so it's fine to just harm ourselves and others, do whatever we want. Jodo Shinshu Buddhist teachings explain to us that we must rely on Amida Buddha in order to awaken. And in this way, our lives naturally change and we transform into a truer version of ourselves, and we live our lives more authentically. The only way that we can truly get to this point of reliance, however, isn't some formulaic path or equation like we want it to be. It involves deep contemplation on who we are as individuals and as communities, and constantly holding those identities alongside the profundity of the Buddha Dharma. This is the light of the Buddha, revealing our truest selves, both as individuals and in community. From the decisions we make deliberately or subconsciously, to the contracts we form in community, even to the politics we enact based on those social contracts. Knowing that we are limited and unenlightened doesn't give us license to just do whatever we want and to cause harm. Rather, it should give us a deeper understanding of our self-awareness. Venerable Shinran states, do not take a liking to poison just because there is an antidote. In describing the razor-edge line that we walk when we truly understand our limitations and come to rely upon Buddha. In this way, I see Master Shinran encouraging us to always strive to be better, to do better, and to be a better version of ourselves than we once were. Perhaps this means trying to do good, but knowing that we ourselves are never quite good. In spite of all of that, however, in the eyes of Amida Buddha, we're always good enough. I'd like to conclude my Dharma talk for today by reading the Gosandai from the Tanisho once more. Please join me in Gasho. Good thoughts arise in us through the prompting of good karma from the past, and evil comes to be thought and performed through the working of evil karma. The late Master Shinran said, know that every evil act done, even as slight as a particle on the tip of a strand of rabbit's fur or sheep's wool, has its cause in past karma. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandal, 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 Namandal. Okay. With that, I'd like to conclude our service for the day. I'd like to thank the Buddhist Temple of Marin for their support. Thank you all for coming today who are live. And this is recorded. So thank you. If you watch this later on YouTube, I appreciate you. I'm going to end the recording now and allow people to unmute if you'd like to chat and talk. We can do that too.